Okay, are we live? Looks like we're live. We live?
Is ons lewendig?
Oh, we are live, yes. Great. Hello, Jandre.
What's up, Margriet? Wat sê jy?
Lekker. I love this time of the year.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, so much going on, so much excitement in the air. And yeah, I hope all the other business owners are feeling the same, feeling the excitement, getting ready for the festive season. So, yeah, and you?
I'm lekker. As I said, like I think everybody enjoys this time of year. We also know that this is when we make most of our money as businesses, online businesses, and local businesses too. So I think there's a lot to be excited about. Summer is here, it's getting warmer. The air is a little bit fresher than usual. This is a good time for any business. It's really the best time for any business. Outside of that, I think we're moving closer to the end of the year when people can relax a little bit too. Hopefully, most people at least. I mean, we've got what, 2 months left, 60 days, and then most people's lives and businesses come to a bit of a stop, So 60 days. What are we going to do?
60 days. What are we going to do? Hello, King Kudu. We've got 60 days. What are we going to do? They, King Kudu, they make amazing leather fallies and these leather rugby balls. They actually made a ball for Eben. It's a bit now with these.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've got an email here from King Kudu.
Yes. I think he's spoken to you as well. Yeah.
Sure. I don't think I've replied yet, and I'm sorry about that. It's been so hectic the last few weeks. Let me just see it. I just want to make sure if this is the right person.
Guys, if you are watching, please say hello in the comments. What are you going to do? We've got 60 days left. Tell us, what are your plans to make money? King Kudu is saying, sis Jandre.
I'm gonna reply. You know what it is? It went to my marketing tab for some reason.
Yeah.
I see it now. That's why I saw it come through, but then when you look at the inbox, it's not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna reply.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I get it. So Stefani is saying, I'm gonna kick ass. Yes.
Sure.
I'm gonna make money. It's 60 days till the end of the year. So what are you going to do? So there's 2 things that's important. The one is, okay, this is now apart from having your offer and your product and all of that. But the one is to drive traffic to your website, and the other is to convert that traffic into money. So we just spoke, and Jandre said, actually, business is so much more simpler than what we make it. We overcomplicate it. And I have to say, Jandre, I'm very guilty of that. I overthink things. And sometimes, you just have to go back to the basics of business.
You should have never left the basics. You should have never stopped doing the basics. I think when you say go back to basics, it's like, why did you ever stop with the basics? The basics is there for a reason. It's the foundation of the business. It's the foundation of growing. But somehow we want to build the roof before we really finish the foundation. And I think we've spoken about strategies, we've spoken about tactics and how they're different. And I think so many people just get so lost in their business, and you because there's all this noise, the deeper you go into the business, the more your brain starts to process that noise. And the more you process that noise, the more you start to overthink what you need to do in correlation to the noise. And that's when you start to make not silly decisions, but just decisions that are not really moving the needle. Does it make sense? So it's like, okay, if you spend time in your business 8 hours a day, you're going to see a comment from a customer here. You're going to hear a staff member saying this. You're going to hear someone saying that about your business. Then you're going to see an email. And if that happens literally 20 times a day, small little things like that, you are going to start to overthink every single thing that happens because the noise is filtrating, getting into your brain, and your brain is going, well, what do I do with this noise? Maybe I should change my logo. Maybe my logo is really not that pretty. Maybe there is something wrong with my brand. Maybe I need a new strategy. Oh, sales is down today. Maybe all of a sudden people don't have money. And I think when you're very deep in the business, it's easy to get distracted with all the noise that comes with it. And what's difficult for a business owner and entrepreneur to do is to distinguish between what is noise and what's actual signals that you need to pay attention to so that you can actually move the business forward. I think most people pay attention to noise and then make silly decisions in correlation to that. And very few, and only the top business owners, pay attention to signals, objective data that allows them to make logical decisions to push the business forward.
So Alice is saying, hello Alice, all the way from Botswana. Gaan verseker hierdie 60 dae gebruik aan my beplanning vir my aanlyn winkel vir January 2025. So I want to mention something about this. Guys, if you are watching, let us know that you're watching. Ask your questions and tell us what you're going to do these last 60 days. So there's actually something I want to mention here. When we are launching a product or a service or a business, starting a business, I actually spoke to someone about this yesterday. She wants to finish this product of her and then launch it in the market. So I told her, you have to be more active on social media. You have to start educating people about what you're doing. And then she said, I want to do that, but I first want to finish the product. And here's what I told her, and Alice, maybe that's something that you can think about as well. So in order for you to be successful in your business, there's two things that there's many things, but I'm going to focus on two things that you need now. It is an offer or a product, something that people actually want, something that solves their problem, some kind of offer, okay? And then you need an audience. What happens a lot in business is we want to bring something to the market, but we don't have an audience. And what I see on the other hand with influencers and celebrities, they've got the audience, but they don't know what to sell them. So as business owners, we've got the product and the solution, but we don't have the audience. And the celebrities got the audience, but they don't know what to sell. So you need to have both. So if you know you're going to launch a product in a month or two, it is a good time to start warming up your audience about that. And there is a concept that we call a kind of waiting list concept, which is actually getting people excited and enrolled in this idea of yours and making sure that it's actually something people want. So on the one hand, I don't know if you're, maybe you have already validated your product, but on the one hand, we want to launch something in the market without really knowing that people want that. So that's the one thing. So when you sort of pre-launch your product and start telling people about it, but say, listen, I'm launching it in January or in February, but I so long want to tell you about it. And you know what? If you're interested in this, I want you to actually join this waiting list of mine or even a group or something, so that by the time that you launch, you already have like 100 people that's interested in what you want to sell. So on that day one, you can basically say, I'm launching this product. I only have 50. There's 100 subscribers on my list that showed interest. So the first 50 is going to get it. So that way, you sort of create that sort of like a mattress around you that it's an easy entry into the market. So I want you to think about how can you use this time before January to talk about your product or service that you're going to do to get people excited and maybe get people on some or other list. It could be an email list. It could even be a Facebook group, so that people get excited with you for this business that you're going to launch. Because it also helps with that when you start to doubt yourself and doubt your idea. If you've got 100 or 200 or 300 people already showing interest in something you haven't launched yet, then you know, okay, if I'm going to launch this on day one, I'm going to make money. Sometimes we even pre-sell stuff. So it depends what your product is. I'm not sure. But if you, for instance, are a coach or a consultant and you've got some kind of program, you can even pre-sell that. You can say, listen, yeah, next year I am starting a mastermind, but you can pay now, but it's only starting in January, things like that. That way, it sort of gives you that, security that you're not going to spend all this time and effort on something, you launch it, and then there's just crickets. So just something to think about on that. Let's see.
That is very, very true. Thank you. Let's see. We've got some questions here from Stephanie. Is that, I think she said here, starting out on this, and I have trouble. I don't have a website. I have products perfect for this time of year, but no e-commerce site. You know what you can do? WhatsApp ads. Just drive them straight into WhatsApp. That works like a bomb. I have someone in my network, a client. I think she makes 170,000 Rand a month from her WhatsApp ads, and she spends like 10 to 12 grand a month. So you're just going to have someone manage those conversations for you. So I think you don't need a website. Just grab some WhatsApp ads. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes. So for me, Stephanie, I always say, do what you can with what you have right now, because a lot of the times we would tell ourselves, if only I had this, if only I had that. And that is exactly the conversation I had yesterday with this lady. Just start with what you have. So do those WhatsApp ads. I also have one of my students, Michelle. She actually does have an e-commerce site, but she prefers the WhatsApp ads because it keeps her closer to her customers. She's busy like freaking crazy, but she does the WhatsApp ads. I'm actually going to run ads now for another celebrity person, but that's more like lead ads. But the thing is, you can and you should not wait, or you should not be thinking, because I don't have a website. Just freaking do WhatsApp ads and sell enough so that you can have enough money to buy a website. Don't first have the website. It's always important to get the money in and then spend it on improving your tech. But yeah, definitely WhatsApp ads. Jandre, your friend
Armando.
Junior, yes.
Jandre, tips for scaling aggressively like you did with Sentimental. How do you deal with the big jump in sales volume? Not try. So we'll look at that. Could you give us the challenges you faced? Yeah, I can give you a time. So my friend Armando, I don't actually advise that anybody try and grow as quickly as we did. It sounds amazing, and it sounds, fun, and it sounds cool, and it might look good in an interview in a magazine, or it might make people feel good. But trust me, you put a lot of pressure on people. And I think in hindsight, even though, the money is great, and I think obviously it's nice to feel like you're building something really quickly, that you're moving forward. I always remind myself that the tortoise won the race. And that's how we're building V8 Media. Is the V8 group itself. Like, I always remind myself, the tortoise won the race. And we're not here for a quick sprint. We're here for the whole marathon. And I think looking at Sentimental, the lesson we learned is that obviously growing quickly is amazing. However, you don't anticipate or really sometimes understand how much pressure you put on people. And I think I feel a sense of guilt that we sometimes are growing that quickly, because I can see what it's doing to people in the warehouse. And we're trying our best to sort it out. We're now moving premises for the second time. So we moved into a new warehouse in April, and we've outgrown that warehouse. Now we're moving into another one. And we're hiring more staff, but the current premises can't take more staff. So, we trying to slow down, but it's also difficult this time of year because it's October, Black Friday, and December. That's usually amazing time of the year for fragrance businesses. So the lessons learned is that on the front end, it's easy to do if you get your numbers right. And if you know what your profitability is and what your actual net profit is, so that you can reinvest a proportion of that back into ads for next month and keep growing. That's obviously the easy part of it, actually, if you have the skills to do that. The difficult part is the logistics and the customer support and making sure that people get their products on time. Like now, we are 5 days behind at fulfilling orders. And, that's not good for the brand. However, we're reaching out to people personally. We're replying to messages. We're giving people discounts. We're saying, look, we'll fast track the order. And if you want a refund, we'll refund you. We're not here to steal your money. We just have a business that's growing a little bit faster than we anticipated. So in theory, Armando, I think the the hurdles are logistics. You need good amazing customer support and being proactive, communicating with customers on WhatsApp. When orders are going to be delayed, you need someone to tell them, listen, you want to be proactive in communicating with them about their orders that's being delayed as opposed to reactive. And that's very difficult to do, but that is the right thing to do, even though it's not always possible to do. So if you can do that, I think it will help a lot. And then it's just planning expansion. Like depending on the cash flow and the cash intensity of the business, it's that finding that medium between investing in growth and then also investing in the back end of the business, the logistics. It's the horizontal and the vertical growth of a business. So the vertical growth is reinvest into ads so we can scale revenue. Horizontal growth is, well, you need a foundation to support that. So you have to get warehouse and staff and systems and processes and new machinery. And we have another business called Glute Nutrition. So if you think Sentimental was growing fast, Glute went from 0 to literally projected to do 100 million next year. And the crazy the crazy thing about that is that we in clicks, we in take a lot, we on online, and the reality of that is like it's so cash intensive. Like we're not taking any money for ourselves because it's just reinvesting all the money back into growth. So I think as a founder, you need to ask yourself what is important. And I think if this is your first business, then finding the balance is what's crucial. So with Glute, we obviously doing our best and growing it as quickly as possible with as little risk as possible. That's very difficult to do. It's a very cash intensive business because you have to buy so much upfront stock. And then you have to increase workforce to make sure that it's just very cash intensive. And you're working with retailers that only pay 60 days later, 90 days later. So you can understand that there's this almost like this cash outlay effect, and you don't really see the profits unless you kind of balance out and stabilize. So in essence, it depends on what kind of business you want to run. And I think, depending on the industry where you're in and depending on how your business is structured, I'd say just keep in mind that the tortoise won the race and don't be in a rush to get anywhere. As long as you're growing, do what your best to keep to take care of the people within the business best you can, and make sure that they are compensated fairly, make sure that they are not, burning out, and because that is something that's naturally going to happen, and you need to it's your responsibility to take care of them. And I think finding that balance is hard, but look for it. You can see when someone is tired. Maybe try and give them an off day. Make sure that you have replacements and systems in place so that the replacement can come in and take over immediately, so that there's not a hiccup in the system. And I think the one thing that we're struggling with is really getting those systems in place so that anybody can jump in and sort it out. And not that's easy to do that, but systems, the back end systems, is just so flipping crucial, man. So Armando, I hope that helps. But I think my advice to you is the tortoise won the race. Don't be in a rush to get somewhere. Make sure that you find the balance, and especially if it's self-funded. If it's other people's money and there's pressure to make sure it happen, completely different story maybe. But I think if it's self-funded and you're not in a rush to get anywhere, then I think just look for that balance and focus on your vertical growth. And then when you feel that is where it needs to be in order to support a new location, then focus on the horizontal growth and be okay that the vertical growth then is going to be delayed a little bit. Like with the VA group, for example, we go through years where we have massive spikes in revenue, but then we have years where, for example, the agency side, that we stabilize a little bit. And, we make sure that we have systems in place and the right people in the right place, bums in the right seats and stuff like that. But then you can't grow vertically. Like if you're going to do all of that logistical back end work in your business, plus try and grow vertically at the same time, you're just going to create so much noise for everybody around you.
So I think what I just want to add on this, Armando, is to remember that we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people. I'm not saying that you do, but here's the thing. A lot of the times it happens with me because what we see, people out there, we see them, they are already successful, but we didn't see their chapter one. So I like to think of it like you are on your own chapter. So it's always good to look at other people that's successful and aspire to also be more successful, but not to let that negatively influence you. So never compare your chapter one or your chapter two with someone else's chapter 20. And unfortunately, with social media, we only see people who's already up there, content that's really doing good. We don't see the startup phase of a lot of these companies and where they struggle. So a lot of the times I just remind myself, I'm on my journey. I'm building this thing. I shouldn't be somewhere else. It's good to look at other people and it's good to see what they are doing, but it shouldn't make you feel negative as if, oh, you should have been there already. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think comparison is the thief of all joy. It's like
Yes. And
you
growth
just focus
and
on
everything.
your own chapter, and stay in your lane and just do what makes you happy and brings you fulfillment, and don't look outside for that because you're never going to find it.
So Ray is saying she's watching from Dubai. So Ray is, we had this discussion and we spoke about putting up sort of like a vision board. It's sort of just, things that I want to do and just put it up there. And going overseas was on her vision board, but only to Turkey. Now she's been to England and Dubai. So that's amazing. So let's
That's
see. Here's a question. We are a creative agency, so ads, creative design, both still and video, trying to focus on video and then stick content creation by site forming, editing, as well as Instagram organic
well, I
growth.
think he asked a question before. Sorry, I think he
Okay.
went. If you got up, there was a question. He said,
Yes.
"My business just got registered as a PTY finally, and we've been scanning every single month. It's been both exciting, a little scary, but I feel super pumped and confident. Good for you, Shay. I know Shay personally. Like, good luck most of the time. No, I'm joking.
What's your business name, Shay? Put your business name down here so we can see. Everyone is looking
Wave,
for
wave.
creative. Yeah.
But Shay can do the comments there. I think he said, for the rest of the year, I want to focus on stabilizing the business and preparing for expansion. I plan to launch more services offerings next year and really establish on these. I think, yeah, if I look at Shay's business and I understand his business a little bit, quite well. So I'd say, like, when you're doing a service business, it's tough because at the end of the day, you have to balance the demand that there is with the resources what you have. And when you're a service business, your resources, that's people. And when you deal with people, you create room for error, human error. And if you try and grow too quickly in terms of revenue, you are going to put a lot of pressure on the existing people in the business and, their skill sets as well. So it's really, again, finding that balance between vertical and horizontal growth. Are the people, within the business skilled in order to accommodate the demand and the services that you have already sold? And I think in Shay's niche or industry specifically is that when you sell multiple services, you're going to have to teach people multiple skills. And I think the one thing that we did at V8 is in the beginning, we just ran Facebook ads, nothing else. So when you wanted Google ads, we said, no, thank you. We can't help you. When you said you wanted a website, we said, no, we can't help you. So for the first year within V8 Media, we literally just ran Facebook ads. And we became really good at that because I think, we had some amazing people. And I think also my history is Facebook ads. So we focused on that. And I think we did like 100 to 200 grand a month just on Facebook ads before we launched another service. Because sometimes you want to launch these different services thinking it's going to bring you more money. But it's only because you heard someone say, do you offer this? It's one person. And now you think, well, I could have taken that person's money if I've actually offered that service. But in reality, if now you're creating more pressure for you and the team in order to fulfill on a service like that. And that creates complex back-end. So the thing about a service business is that you have to streamline the back-end as much as possible. And you do that by focusing only on specific services that your team is already capable of handling. So hypothetically, Facebook ads, you have a really good Facebook ads guy, for example, you can, pass that on. And you can grow that department now, a lot quicker because you have systems and processes in place in order to accommodate that specific service. You can build SOPs around it. You can build training around it. You can build onboarding around it. You can build so much around it that's going to streamline the back end so that you can essentially not be overwhelmed and anxious, as a business owner, having to deal with all these things that are falling apart at the same time. And then you add on top of that. So if I was Shay, I would have said, what is the one thing that we're really good at? We're making, I know they do short form reels. They do that really well. So that if it was me, I'd say, well, this is the service I do really well. So I want more people that I can do that for. The next question is, who are the people who need that specific service the most? And in my opinion, it could be any brand, but for example, coaches and consultants are probably the people who understand the need for that better than anybody else. So then it's like, okay, cool. How can I reach out to every single coach and consultant in South Africa and, potentially overseas as well, and then you just build one offer for those people. And now you've created some form of an assembly line for you and your business. If someone says, can you do a content shoot? Yes, you can, but should you do it? Because that's now taking away from the system and procedures that you've already built. And I think that's where people start to lose themselves. They try and say yes to everything because, we're all money hungry and everybody's desperate to pay their bills. And I think that's just one thing I've always said to myself. It's like, I don't get excited about short-term money. I just don't. It just doesn't excite me. And even when I didn't have money, it didn't excite me because at the end of the day, for me, it's not about the money that I make today or tomorrow. It's whether we can make the money consistently for the next 50 years. And I think that's not how people think. So with that said, I hope that helps.
So Shay, you are in trouble with me because I just went on your Instagram and I couldn't see what you do. So I have this thing that I always teach my students. Your social media, organic social media, is like a little bucket and it has to represent exactly what you do. And if you don't have that, people just come and they leave. So your Instagram, I want to see the work you do because I was so excited when I heard you do videos and creative stuff, but I couldn't get a feel of the work you do because there's nothing on Instagram unless I'm on the wrong account, but it's not because you just posted a story. So I know a lot of us don't like the organic side, so maybe this will help some other business owners as well. We don't like the organic side. We don't know why we should do it, but I want you guys to think about your organic social media very much like a website. So yes, we post content and it doesn't reach a lot of people, but people hear about you, then they want to go to your social media. They don't no longer want to go to a website to see it because it's that instant that, like I instantly just quickly want to see that quick wins. So what I like to have on Instagram is a bio that's focused on the ideal customer, knowing what you do and why they should stay. Then I like to have my highlights as a sort of a kind of about us. So a highlight where there's just a little bit about the company. Then I have another highlight where all my reviews are. And this is actually a hack because on Instagram, you can't like with Google display reviews, but you can have it on your highlights. So you share it to your stories and you add it to your highlights. So I always like to have, this kind of about us on highlights because highlights it's a nice visual way where people can get that instant satisfaction of what we do. You don't have to read like a whole paragraph like on a website. And then your reviews, and then another highlight where you can have services or how you can contact us. Like people can instantly get that. And that is at the top of your Instagram. Then your Instagram feed must just at least show off some things that you do, some of the skills why you do it. And obviously, I like a personal touch. So I like it if people show their face on Instagram. I know a lot of people don't like it, but especially if you work with, like yesterday I spoke to a dietitian. She has to do videos. That's just, whether you like it or not, that's just how it is, So the organic side of the social media. You know what's interesting, Jandre? I just quickly want to say this. In my defense, Margriet, I only created the page 2 weeks ago. Thank you for the advice. I'll populate the page ASAP, the way you reference. Yes. Okay, great. So I want to tell you something interesting. So yesterday, I made a video for this dietitian in Stellenbosch because she really helped me so much. But I took a screenshot of her Instagram before I posted the video, okay? And what's very interesting, because we think people don't see what we post. Now you have to follow with me, okay? We think people don't see it because they don't like, they don't comment, they don't engage, right? So now you post something on social media, it feels like no one sees it. Why should I post it? So that post of mine didn't get many likes, say it got 20 or 40 or whatever, but the amount of followers, so her account was exactly on 300 followers. She's now on 455. It means from that one video, 155 people went to actually take action. So what that means is only 20 of them liked the video. They didn't show me that they were watching the video. But 150 people actually went to follow her from my video. So that just showed me again that even if it feels like no one hears you, no one sees what you're saying, that's not the truth. People are so afraid to engage and to like and to comment. But if they don't like and comment, it doesn't mean they don't take note, because 150 people that didn't like that video, that didn't comment on that video, actually went to her account and took action on her account. And that to me was really significant, especially in that feeling of, no one likes my content. No one likes, no one likes it. No one sees it. It feels like you're in this void, but that's actually not the truth. So yeah, just my little bit on organic social media and where it fits in.
Cool. I think Colleen says, yeah, we are also a service-based company. We also remind ourselves that we focus on, to stay on our core business and only add services if we have done proper market research. Yeah, I mean, and then what you have to understand is, like, you have to find an expert in that service and train them and build onboarding systems and SOPs and structures, and make sure that you have got systems in place if they want to go on leave and who's going to take over and stuff like that. It's very, very crucial. Armando also said, yeah, he says, in terms of the conversation around growth, he says, I think, like Jandre said, when it's other people's money, you put yourself under so much pressure because results only matter then. But when it's self-funded, you can focus on being a bit more relaxed. Look, I mean, if you've got investors that are open-minded, if you want to read a cool book, it's called Jeff Bezos' Letters to Shareholders. Let me find the book name for you. Jeff Bezos' Letters to Shareholders. What's that book called? Letters to Shareholders. So it's basically a book. Or it's, I think it's a book that you can find, collection, yeah. So it's a collection, Jeff Bezos Shareholders Letters. So if you can find that and download that, let me tell you, you're going to learn some really cool tips and tricks and long-term thinking plans and ideas around how to navigate. If you do work with investors, a lot of investors want their money back as quickly as possible. That's the point of investment. But I think if you have people who are a bit more open-minded and who's understanding and also who can see the bigger picture, then that's ideally where you want to be. So Letters to Shareholders will give you an idea of how Jeff Bezos literally told his shareholders to F off if they want short-term money. He's like, I don't want your money if you want to make money in the short term, but I do want to work with you if you're long-term driven. and don't put money into Amazon if you want to make a quick buck. That's basically what it boils down to. And look at what they're doing now.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very, very cool. I think, yeah, is there any other questions? I think there's one or two. I'm not sure if we've missed anything, but I think, Margriet, at the end of the day, the bottom line, I think, of today's conversation that we wanted to chat about is just getting out of your own head and realizing that things are not that complicated. And I think at the end of the day, it's simplicity over complexity. It is that simple, but it is not that easy. So that's what people don't understand, is that simple doesn't mean it's easy. So we have this way of thinking that if it's simple, it's going to be easy. And we need to stop that. Stop it. Because at the end of the day, it like you said, it's back to basics. Zoom out. I think I was very fortunate enough to be a judge on the Entrepreneur of the Year panel.
No, how was that?
It was so cool, man. Like, we had so much fun.
Did they announce the winners yet?
I don't know if it's announced to the public. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think so. RV Craft Bry won, and he's got a really cool product. But long story short, it was just so amazing to see a bunch of people who, are taking action.
Did he win the Craft Bry?
So long story short, the point of that was I realized that so many people walked away with a broader perspective of what they're actually building, because the conversations that you start having when you we were in like a boardroom, and then we would like literally dissect their business and ask them questions about it. And I think, like Avi specifically, he said, it was such a good experience to just zoom out and look at the bigger picture, as opposed to being so lost in the nitty-gritty on a daily basis.
Right.
So, and that's what I advise most people to do, is like, yes, it doesn't mean that you should stop doing the nitty-gritty. It just means that you should take your mind away from it. So should you still send an email? Absolutely. Should you make sure the order goes out? Absolutely. Should you make sure that, you get your stock in? And absolutely. Then you shouldn't stop doing that. That's not what zooming out means. But I think at the end of the day, when we go to bed at night and when we wake up in the morning, our minds are fixated in the middle center of the business, as opposed to seeing the business holistically from the top and going, this is where I need to actually move and do what we need to do. So I think zooming out and really getting a broader perspective is what's crucial. That will allow you to focus on the basics. And I think when you start to implement and make sure that you get the basics right, I think there was a quote actually. It said, the only difference between millionaires and billionaires is that billionaires do the basics exceptionally well, or something like that. Like I read it somewhere. It's like, it's where millionaires do the basics average, kind of do decently well. Billionaires do it exceptionally well.
Wow, interesting.
So it's not. We all think that billionaires have all these weird tactics and strategies, and what the hell are they doing? How do they get this right? And yes, they have networks and connections, and I'm not taking that away, right? Resources at their disposal. But the point is that at the end of the day, if you look at every single business they build, it's basics. And I think sometimes we just overcomplicate the whole process for ourselves. And the only difference between someone who's really successful and someone who's not is the person who've executed on the basics better than anybody else.
Wow. Yeah. I sometimes think that we are more scared of success than what we are of failure. And that is a lot of the times why we just get so busy in the nitty-gritties. Because if we just keep to the basics, we can be way more successful. And sometimes it's difficult for our minds to actually think that we can be successful and think that we can actually have everything that we want in life. I know I struggle with that.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I think everybody does at some point. Niku, it seems I am making all the wrong decisions about things. I don't manage to cross the borders of my local area. Well, there's a sense of self-awareness, Niku, that's pretty cool. But now my question is, what are you doing to cross the area? Like, give me 3 things that you have done to try and cross the borders of your local area. When you say local area, is that, province? Is that your suburb? Maybe just give us some context to what that means, and then tell me the 3 things that you have done extensively to the best of your potential that is actually pointed at moving out of your local area. Because that's the thing. Like, I think we sometimes underestimate that what we do is actually not directly correlated to the goal. So someone will be like, well, I'm doing everything. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But none of that is really actually going to get you to achieve the goal. And we waste our time with busy work as opposed to things that are actually going to move the needle. So my question to Nico is like, what are the 3 things that you've done extensively to the best of your potential for the last 6 months that is aligned with helping you move across your, the border or outside of your local area?
So Jandre, what is the thing that you would say is it this stuff? This is this product, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
it's cool. We actually, we got one at Nampu the other day from him.
Oh, crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's a very cool product.
Yeah, because his brother stays next to us and he told us about this. But we haven't used it. We must use it. We'll use it this weekend. We're actually going camping. So you put braaibroodjies in here, or you can put anything.
Put anything in there. Yeah, he even has popcorn on the braai.
That's amazing. Yeah.
You can literally put like your corn in there and make popcorn with it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's a cool product. But the thing is, I mean, just commenting on that business, it's a very cool product, but people can copy it and people can enter the market. And I've seen it many, many times where people make good money off of one product, and then other people start to sell the exact same product, and then your margins shrink and competition rises and things get more complicated and cost of acquisition increases, profit decrease, and then before you know it, you're running backwards. So what's crucial for an RV, legend of a guy, true entrepreneur at heart, bless his soul, I think, he's already aware that, you have to stay one step ahead, and he's innovating around all kinds of other things as well. So as an entrepreneur, I think, and this is the funny thing, like someone asked me the other day, like, you're quite entrepreneurial. I said, you know what? I'm not entrepreneurial at all. Actually, I'm not an entrepreneur at all. I'm a businessman. I think there's a difference between a businessman or a businesswoman and an entrepreneur. I don't know if you think, if you feel the same way, but I think running a business and understanding business and being an entrepreneur are 2 different things. And I think most entrepreneurs are sucky at running a business. And I think, like, I'm not an entrepreneur. Like, and I'm happy to say that out loud. I'm not entrepreneurial. I'm just really good at running businesses. Well, sometimes I'm not either. But
you're very good at running the execution and the back end, and that is great. Yeah.
So let's see what Nico says here. Surrounding towns, try to get agents, try Facebook ads, did markets, and the profits and swings. Nico, to what extent have you tried Facebook ads? Like,
I know exactly to what extent Nico has tried Facebook ads. Nico, the problem is Nico doesn't have good internet access. So it's very difficult or it's either the computer or the internet that's really hindering his ability to do the Facebook ads. But
well, that's simple. Just fix that.
Yeah, I don't know
what. It's not easy, but it's simple. Like, I mean, if the biggest thing is going to be internet or a computer, then just get a new computer. Whether you need to make a loan.
He's got such a cool product, and so we suggested WhatsApp ads, but it was very difficult because we cannot help him over Zoom because I don't know. I think it's the internet, right, Nico, or the computer. One of the 2 is struggling a bit.
The simple bottom line of logical reasoning is if you don't fix that, then you're always going to struggle. So, Nico, your main priority should be to fix your internet connection and to fix your computer. Nothing else is going to fall in line if you don't fix that. And to be honest, if you want to sell stuff online, which is literally the goal of selling outside of your local area, then you need to make sure that you've got a computer that's functional and an internet. And I don't mean to sound like rude or anything. Like, that's not the point of my comment. The point of my comment is think about it logically. If there's a barrier to your success, and that barrier is that you need a good internet connection and you need a solid computer that can handle the workload that comes with running Facebook ads and analyzing an online store, then it's very clear that nothing is good is going to happen. No growth is going to happen if you don't fix that issue. And if you want to sell online, you're going to need an internet connection, unless you find someone who can do it for you. So if you've got options on the table, so you need to logically look at the options that you have. Option one, I do it myself. What barriers are there preventing me from doing it? Internet connection, computer. Cool. What are the plans to fix my computer, and what are the plans to fix my internet connection? And then you have to put those action things into place and start taking action on that. If you can't do it and you go, I don't have the time to do it, I don't have the internet connection or the computer to do it, then find someone who can. And then the goal is, how can I afford to pay someone to do that for me? And I think it's not a complicated formula. It's just not that difficult to execute on. And we're looking for quick, simple answers. This is what I'm alluding to. Everybody is looking for a simple answer. The one thing I've never thought of, and all I have to do is to correct this. This is not to do with Nico at all. Like, Nico, this is not connected to you as a comment. This has got to do with many other individuals who I've seen. It's like, people want you to solve the problem for them. And this is actually Lizette. Shout out to Lizette, the human lie detector, amazing human being, who I spent some time with yesterday. And we had a conversation. And one of the things she said to me, she's like, we need to understand that people, what they truly want is for someone to solve their problem for them. Most people don't want to solve the problem themselves. So Niku, the question I have for you is like, do you want to solve the problem yourself, or do you want someone to solve the problem for you? If you want someone to solve the problem for you, then you're going to have to pay them or give them something in exchange to incentivize them to do it. If you want to solve the problem yourself, then you're going to have to get the resources in order to do it. So at the end of the day, like, it's very logical. It's just we get in our own way because we assume there's a quicker way, there's an easier way, there's an alternative that we haven't thought of. And the reality is there's only so many roads that is going to get you there. And you need to objectively look at those roads.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's something that I was also thinking about. So one of our other students, she makes this, actually, here it is. She makes this jam, and she is in over 300 padstalle nationwide. And that's something you can also consider, because the product you have is quite nice for a padstall to sell, and they always look for something to sell. So I don't know if you've tried in your area, maybe all the padstalle, these the padstalle. We've got so many of them, because I know this Nastergal jam, it's a very nice thing, because they're always looking for something that is sellable, that people want to buy. And because people stop there, they want to spend their money, they're normally on holidays. So Nikki, maybe you can try and see, I don't know if you have done that in your area, try and see if you can maybe get a deal with a padstall that's got a lot of traffic, and maybe start there, and then slowly but surely update your social media, update your Facebook page, so when people go there, so that they can see what you have to offer. And then, then when you have the capability to run the ads, do that as well. So King Kudu is asking you some advice.
What is your advice on trying to stand out socially from the rest of the market that manufactures the same similar products? So people get tired of seeing the same products. Oh yeah, 100%. I think when you see the same brands and similar products, it's like background noise. It's like white noise. It's like it's not something that people would want to pay attention to. And you need to find a way to create a signal as opposed to white noise. I was having that conversation with someone this morning who actually runs a very well-respected sports nutrition brand. And I said, from my point of view, it feels like the brand is just making white noise, background noise that nobody's really paying attention to. And what I've realized is like all the brands are saying the same shit. No matter what product, it's superior quality. It is best ingredients. It's, we've been around for a decade or two. We are the number one in the country. Like, everybody claims the exact same selling points. So Kinkudu, you're asking a very valid question, because more people need to think like you. More people need to think, how do I stand out and how do I make myself different? And the answer is, I suppose there's 2 or 3 things you can do. The first thing is personalizing the brand. I think that's what Kalula did really well back in the day. That's, I think, what Mango did quite well. And I think remember Kalahari.com before they were bought up by Takealot? They had a guy called Kalahari. I don't know if you remember those ads. It was so flippin' awesome. But it's finding a way to personalize the brand, and the quickest way to do that is maybe with your own culture as a company. So what people don't understand is, like, it doesn't have to be you as the individual, the business owner, that actually is the face of the company. It could just be the people behind the business and the kind of culture that you have as well. And that culture needs to be presented to the people, of the public, and they will then automatically resonate with you. Some will resonate with you and some won't. But the people that do are most likely more going to buy from you than from someone else. So I think a quick way to stand out is to just start personalizing the business best you can, whether it's you or the actual team behind, the success or whatever it is, and creating a sense of personality for the business. I think that's very crucial. The other thing is, can you offer different offers? Can you put different offers in the market that other people can't? Can you stand out on a pricing standpoint? If you can't stand out in terms of price, can you stand out in terms of value? Can you offer different kinds of shipping? Can you do free shipping? Like, does your margins maybe support that? Because then people would rather buy from you than someone else who sells the same product. Can you ship faster? Can you, if someone buys something, can you give them a free gift? Can you build some form of loyalty program? Can you there's many ways that you can obviously try and add more value than a competitor. So personalizing your brand, finding a way to add more value, whether it's price or actual value. And I think the last thing is actually having unique selling points. What is the actual unique selling points of the business? Is there others? Is the leather sourced differently? Is it made differently? Is there anything different to the way that your process works than anybody else's? What are the unique selling points of the business really? Is there anything that makes the business unique? And like I said to the guy this morning, I said, out of the ingredients, is there anything that you thought you need to add that's going to make this product superior? Because if so, that's what you should be talking about. Not that the product is superior, that the product is superior because of this ingredient. Everybody knows everybody sees the same messaging. Our products are superior. So nobody really cares. It just falls on deaf ears. But when you say the product is different because of this ingredient, then people might pay attention. Oh, I've never seen this ingredient before. What does it do? Well, let me tell you. That makes sense. Okay, well, let me give it a shot, because I wasn't going to buy it anyway. I might as well give this a shot then. So it's really understanding those 3 things. And that's just top of mind. I might be butchering it, but I believe it's personality, the value that you offer, and the unique selling point in the market. So if you can find either of those 3 things, if you can do all 3, you have a much bigger chance of winning, but at least try and find one of those 3.
I want to show you a very cool video on social media, and then we can stop.
It's on Amanda's comment.
I quickly just want to show you this. That's funny. So this is, look at this. So it's a pizza place that they're giving away free pizza. Okay. But this is what they did. If you can scan me, you can get a free pizza. So it's just, being a little bit different, thinking, I love this. It's so funny because normally we want to give things away for people, but in this way, it's just different and it's recognizable. So this was really, I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think what you're going to see, I think, in the next few years is I'm not trying to predict anything, but my gut says that I think traditional marketing is going to come back in a way that we've never seen before. I think because digital is going to be traditional. So I think digital is going to be a point where I think we're going to do a whole shift in a few years. Like I think digital will always be there, but it's going to be seen as traditional. And then what's going to be unique is actual in-person marketing event like that. That's technically traditional marketing with a spin on it. So let me tell you, I think digital is going to always be there, but it will be in a few years' time, it's going to be the traditional way of marketing. And then that's going to be harder and harder to do and less fun to do. And then you're going to have to innovate. So it's going to be interesting. I think my gut says digital will always be there, but it will be the traditional. It will be radio. It'll be TV. It'll be newspapers. So good luck to everybody who's dependent on just purely digital marketing, I suppose. But yeah.
But also, if digital is going to be the traditional, then it means at least you have to be digital, because then that is your baseline. But then you have.
But the problem is you're competing. The problem with that is that you're competing with every single brand in the market.
Yeah, it's true.
And the cost of lead is going to go up. The cost of acquisition is going to go up. It's going to be a shit show, in my opinion, in the next 5 years for brands who live on very low margins. And you're going to have to find ways to innovate to acquire customers. And I think, like I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, but I think like this is the problem. Is like everybody thinks this is a digital era and it's like exciting, and it is huge opportunities. But you can't rest on your laurels. You can't stop there. You need to understand that soon this will be traditional and everybody will be doing it, which means if everybody does it, the cost of CPMs, the cost of clicks, everything is going to skyrocket. So you need to make sure that you innovate on how you actually sell those products and keep the cost of acquisition as low as possible.
Wow, interesting. Okay, great. But thanks so much. Remember, guys, 60 days till the end of the year. It's now time to scale up and get those sales in. And we'll speak soon, Jandre.
Bye, guys. Much love. Have a good one.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.